I'm joined by former Republican presidential candidate and former Ohio Governor John Kasich and former South Carolina Democratic State House member Bakari Sellers. Governor, when you look at those polls and with everything we have seen over the past year, we look at the debates, Ukraine, the rise of Elizabeth Warren, the fact that they are in basically the same place as they were 1 year ago, what does that tell you?
Well, a lot of people put Biden at the top early on, and then they started calling for the fact that he wasn't doing very well and it was going to be all over for him, but he's continued to hang in there. And I think it has to do with his history, his ability to appeal to more conservative, center-left Democrats, his ability to connect with African Americans. I think Bakari can speak to that. His ability to offer some solutions and the fact that he's had staying power, and I think he offers a degree of stability, and I think people want to win. Democrats want to win, and I think they have a sense that if you go hard left, you're not going to win. And while 2020 may not be a big debate about philosophy or ideology, leave that for 2024. In the short term, it's about stabilizing things in the country. That's what I think is behind it.
About stabilizing, wanting to win, as you point out. It is interesting, though, Bakari, when we look at some of the second-tier candidates, there has been some movement and some shifting there. What do you take away from those changes?
Well, what it shows is what Governor Kasich said is absolutely correct, that Joe Biden is more resilient than anybody thought he would be, including myself. And you've had individuals who popped up to that second-place number. You've had Kamala Harris over the summer. You had Elizabeth Warren. You've had Pete Buttigieg. You've had all of these people kind of rise to this second level and not be able to overtake him. And what you see is that the two individuals who had the highest name ID, the two individuals who were the most known quantity coming into the race, Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, are still up top. And one of the things that Democrats are looking for is, number one, who can beat Donald Trump, and 1B is the fact who can build that coalition necessary to beat Donald Trump. And what we see is Joe Biden is looming large and winning this race in most of the national polls, and overwhelming number of states that vote after the first four states, all because he can build that coalition. In terms of that coalition, you have set me up perfectly, Bakari. Thank you, to lead me in to the next part of the segment, where I really wanted to touch on Governor Kasich. You were quoted in an article in the New York Times titled, "But I would vote for Joe Biden Republicans." And in terms of the coalition there is talk in that article about not just independents, but moderate Republicans that would, in fact, go for Joe Biden. How big do you think that voting bloc of Republicans really could be?
Well, first of all, it was an interesting article. I did not indicate that I would vote for Joe Biden. We have to see how it all plays out. I didn't mean to mislead there, but you were quoted in the piece. Look, no. I have to figure out if I'm ever going to tell anybody. It's a secret ballot in America. We'll see.
You don't want to
reveal? Eric, I think that there are a significant number of Republicans who are unhappy with Donald Trump. How big? I don't know, 20% maybe, something along those lines. They don't like him, but I got to tell you, they don't want to go hard left. They don't want to see things. They don't want Medicare for all and all that. I just talked to a Republican friend of mine today. I said, what would it take for you to vote for a Democrat? He said, well, I probably could vote for Joe Biden because, he doesn't want to tear it all down. He wants to fix things. He's got a good attitude. People, like him. I think Joe Biden's problem is people have been whispering that he sort of lost a step, and I think he's going to have to deal with that. The other thing I would tell you, and I'm probably one of the few that looks at it this way, I don't count out Michael Bloomberg. Anybody who has $54 billion and also has been a successful governor of New York, I wouldn't count him out either. I think it's going to be very interesting as we get through these primaries, particularly through South Carolina, then we end up at Super Tuesday. So, but I think the Democrats are waking up to the fact that this has got to be somebody that can really affect blue-collar workers, who many Democrats have lost, the independent voters, and some soft Republicans. I think it's all possible.
Bakari, how much is that a conversation behind the scenes in terms of, yes, we know Democrats want to win and they want a candidate who can beat President Trump, and that's consistently something that voters are asked when it comes to polling. But it tends to be the progressive side of the party that in many ways can feel like it is more vocal. But that can be a concern, obviously, because if Bernie Sanders gets the nomination, there is likely not a block of moderate Republican voters and independents who would vote for him in the same way that they would get behind Joe Biden.
With all due respect to my moderate Republican colleagues, Democrats aren't counting on them to win the White House in 2020. It was a great article. Don't get me wrong, but the path to the White House for Democrats doesn't go through the Republican Party. We are hoping that there is a candidate who can unify the country, and we're hoping that Republicans and moderates and independents are sick and tired of Donald Trump. But no one is counting on that small slither of the country. Republicans, we always get to this point, but I think Governor Kasich will agree with me. Republicans, they always fall in love. Republicans fall in line. Democrats like to fall in love. So I think at the end of the day, even if there is a 20% swath, many of them will still vote. They'll hold their nose and vote for Donald Trump, understanding what they will get. What Democrats have to focus on, and whether or not it's Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders, or I really don't believe Michael Bloomberg will win any delegates, but whomever it may be, is there are 4 million voters who voted for Barack Obama in 2012 who did not come out and vote at all in 2016. A third of those were African Americans. And so I think that there is a number of individuals that if we get the enthusiasm and energy, whomever it may be, and I think Joe Biden probably right now has the best chance to do that, should focus on energizing those voters who chose the couch over Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, not worrying about the small slither who may or may not hold their nose and vote for Donald Trump.
Governor Kasich, Bakari Sellers, good to have you both with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.